What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Talkin Sports with Jake. Hope we're all doing well. So, Monday Night Football last night was a crazy game. Broncos shocked the world and beat the Bills 24-22. And as they steal a game in Buffalo, crazy game. Bills made a lot of mistakes in that game. Allen had a couple of bad turnovers, as he does. A couple of bad interceptions. You had James Cook fumbling on the first drive of the game. Yeah, the Bills had another fumble or two as well. So it was very sloppy. Denver, Courtland Sutton with the team up by a touchdown in the third quarter had a key fumble, let the Bills tie in the game. And the Bills ended up scoring a touchdown late in that game to take the lead. They took the lead by a point because Denver missed 2 extra points. They had, when they scored early in the game, they missed an extra point. Lutter's kick hit the goalpost. And then a little bit later in the game, they had another extra point attempt. The holder fumbled the snaps, and he tried to just scramble around. Did not work. So they basically missed 2 extra points. So Bills were up by 1. Brown got the ball back with a minute and 55 seconds. And then, it was Russ threw it was like a desperation third down. Russ threw a heave into Jerry Jeudy and Taron Johnson with an egregious passing interference call. Spot foul, so that put the Denver at the 17-yard line. It was weird. It was third down. The Bills started using their timeouts. They took a couple knees. It was third down. And there was about 23 seconds left from there. It was about a 40-ish yard field goal. Denver didn't have any more timeouts. You would think they would just bring out Will Lutz, have him kick the field goal, and then the Bills will have, maybe 20 seconds, to go 40 yards with no timeouts. 45 yards, maybe 50 yards with no timeouts. It's going to be very, very difficult. But they did what they did to end the first half. They ended the first half, but they did is they posted this kicking a field goal. And leaving a couple of seconds on the clock, they ran a quick play, and then they sprinted up the field. Their field goal team sprinted on the field, and then they snapped the ball with like 4 seconds left, and they kicked the field goal as time expired in the first half. They did that again. Russ took a knee just to burn as much clock. They didn't want the Bills getting the ball back. They sprinted up the field. The Broncos special teams doing sprints on the field, and then they set up. Will Lutz snaps it. Now probably, a few seconds left. 41-yarder, misses it wide right, but a penalty. Bills had 12 men on the field on a field goal attempt. Now, Broncos try again from 36, and of course, Lutz nails it from there. Crazy game. Broncos pull it out 24-22. Bills are up to 5-5 on the year. Let's talk about the NFL standings, by the way. Offensive coordinator Ken Dorsey has been fired. I agree and disagree with the move. I don't think Dorsey's a good offensive coordinator. I've been saying it for a while. He has not done a good job there. They promoted him from his quarterback coach role last year after Brian Daboll left and took the head coach job with the New York Giants. And then, I think he did a great job last year, and I don't think he's done a good job this year either, but it's more so on Josh Allen. He's got to try to limit his turnovers, got to stop playing hero ball, and I think on Sean McDermott. This guy's got too much talent to come up short every single year. If the Bills miss the playoff, which is a real possibility now at 5-5 on the outside looking in, with, they got 7 games to go, if they miss the playoffs, he should be a goner. All right, so let's talk about the NFL standings. We got the Miami Dolphins sitting at 6-3 at top of the AFC East. We're going to do the divisional standings first. And you get the Bills at 5-5, Jets at 4-5. Jets offense obviously really struggling. The Patriots at 2-8. Last place Patriots. Who would have thought? Makes me smile, and their season is definitely over. The quarterback situation there is ugly. But they have released Jack Jones, who's a 4th-round pick corner last year. Flashed a little bit as a rookie, then he got hurt. In the offseason, he was arrested on some gun charges at the airport. And, he got hurt, I think in training camp preseason, so he missed a while to start the year. Then he came back, Hasn't played that much, and apparently he's been like, I heard actually from Ashton. Of course, you've seen on my show before, and he's our host for the Fire Squad podcast that we're doing for our class here at Sacred Heart. He said that he heard that like Jackson was late to meeting. Something happened in Germany, and Bills had enough of him, so he cut him loose. So he is now a free agent. The Ravens to the top of the AFC North. They're at 7-3. Steelers are 6-3. I don't know how that team is 6-3. That offense is pitiful. Kenny Pickett is horrible. He's not a good quarterback. He's not the guy. In fact, I think Pittsburgh should look elsewhere next year. I mean, this is a very deep quarterback class. So I'm not sure who will be able to get in the draft, but if they're a playoff team, I don't think we'll have a super high pick. I'd like to sign one of these guys, Kirk Cousins, maybe Gardner Minshew. I might bring in another back because this guy Kenny Pickett. I know it's only been 2 years, but they have a good team around him. But he's not the guy. You know, Matt Campbell's a terrible offensive coordinator. You know, now just drama with George Pickett's going on, but that defense is phenomenal, absolutely outstanding. Of course, you have one of the best head coaches in the league, Mike Tomlin, who appears to be on his way to his 16th straight year without a losing record. Browns are 6-3. They've played well, even with losing Nick Chubb and all the issues that they've had at quarterback. That defense is phenomenal. The Bengals are 5-4. Now, they've been playing a lot better after a slow start, but took a tough loss to Houston this past week. AFC South got Jacksonville first at 6-3. They've been a little inconsistent in Jacksonville. Got to a slow start. Then, they got hot, but then now you just get shalumped by San Francisco. Last couple of games, they haven't looked great. Lawrence has been very good for the most part, but he's not as great as I thought he was going to be. That defense has played well this year, I would say. The offensive line has not looked great. They were very good last year. They have not been great this year. Definitely missed Jamal Terry losing the offseason. Cam Robinson being suspended to start the year has hurt them. Their O-line has not been very good this year. Calvin Ridley hasn't made the impact they thought he was going to. But second place, the Houston Texans at 5-4, I believe are in playoff position right now. CJ Stroud is an MVP candidate. He has been outstanding. He has been great. Tamika Ryan, if they make the playoffs, he's coach of the year. It's not even the competition. Colts are at 5-5. They've been better than I thought. Gardner Minshew is hanging in there with Anthony Richardson out. Obviously, you got Jonathan Taylor back. Shane Steichen's done a good job in his first year. They have Titans at 3-6. They are not very good. Eighth West, Chiefs on top at 7-2. Raiders are at 5-5. The fact they're at 5-5 is phenomenal. Antonio Pierce, they might have to keep him as the full-time coach. He's done a good job so far. They've gotten them back to 500. Chargers are at 4-5. You don't know what the issue was there. His name is Brandon Staley, and that god-awful defense besides Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack. And Broncos, all of a sudden, they've won 2 straight games. They won 3 straight games after an awful start to the year. They're at 4-5. They're not good, but, Russell Wilson has definitely played better this year. You guys all know my feelings on Sean Payton. I'm still not sold on this guy with this team, but Russ, he's played better this year. He's limited his turnover for sure. It's been much less erratic. He's been much better. In the NFC East, we got Eagles on top at 8-1. They have the best record in football. Got Dallas at 6-3. Of course, they obliterated the god-awful Giants again this past week. What do I say about the Dallas Cowboys? We all know what's going to happen come playoff time. Washington's at 4-6. They're a bit of a mess, to be honest. This new ownership group. They got a Ron Rivera, to me, is a lame duck head coach. I don't know why he's still there. Eric Bieniemy is extremely overrated as the offensive coordinator. They can't stop anybody. They just trade your 2 star edge rushers and not Joey Bosa, Chase Young and Montez Sweat. And the Giants at 2-8 might be the worst football team in the league. They are god-awful. They have Tommy DeVito as their quarterback now, by the way. He's the 10th rookie to start this year. That ties the NFL record, the most since 1950. He's not phenomenal, 7th-round rookie. I will say, the fact that he still lives with his parent, I think is pretty cool. That's very cool to see. Him being 22, 23, and being in the NFL and still living with his parent. That's very cool. Doesn't change the fact that Giants team is awful. They may have the worst offense in the league. It's bad as the Jets offense is right now. The Giants offense, I think, is worse. Tommy DeVito, he shouldn't be he's a 7th-round rookie. What do you expect from the kid? That's why Saquon Barkley, their receiving core is terrible. Their O-line's depleted. It's awful. The worst in football, if you ask me. The defense is very good, but that offense is atrocious. And through Detroit Lions are at 7-2. They are rolling, playing a great. They have had a great year. Jared Goff's playing really well. Vikings are at 6-4. They've had a bit of an easy schedule. Outside the 49ers, they've had an easy schedule, but they've turned the season around. Josh Dobbs, man, another great game from him this past week. He's a heck of a story. He's been playing some really good football. Very, very smart football player. And then there's the Packers at 3-6. They are awful. Jordan Love is awful. That team is so bad. It's just beyond horrible. The O-line's terrible. The defense isn't very good. I don't love LaFleur. I've been saying he's overrated for a while. But the GM, Brian Gutekunst, he has not done a good job. Now, he kind of ran Aaron Rodgers out of Green Bay, basically. And just look at this team. Also, can Matt LaFleur run the freaking ball? The dude just learned to run the ball. I don't get it. You have Aaron Jones, who's, I think starting, that was once running up into their late 20s, he starts to decline. Might be starting to creep in, but still a very good back. You have AJ Downing, who's a good, solid bruising back. And then you have that, you have those two backs. And you don't have a good offensive line that can't pass block, a terrible quarterback, and a very thin, young, not so great receiving core. And he just let's not run the ball. I know their defense isn't great, and they're behind a lot for the most part, so they have to throw, but at least try to run the ball, dude. Come on. For the last 2 years, I've been, even last year, you had Aaron Rodgers at 38 years old, a very inexperienced receiving core, a banged up offensive line. Run the ball. And he just wouldn't do it. And whenever they do, and they get the run game going, they run 30, 35 times with these two guys, the offense looks completely different, and they win. When they only runs it 20, 22 times, they lose. I wonder why. Yes, it's because Jordan Love is awful, but some other things involved as well. Run the ball, dude. I don't get it. And the Bears were at 3-7. They are absolutely terrible. NFC South, good God, this is a bad division. Saints are in first at 5-5. I don't know how. They are not a good football team. Derek Carr is not that good. He's not very good. Every time this dude gets sacked, he gets hurt. He gets a concussion. He sprains his shoulder. He sprains his ankle. Every time a dude gets hit, I gotta ask some of these defenders. Does his body crunch whenever he hits the ground? Oh my God. And just, we'll know what's going on. And Michael Thomas just got arrested. He threw a brick at his neighbor's car for some construction worker for parking by his house on a public street. When the guy tried to call the cop, he took his phone and threw it at him. What's going on with that guy? What is going on in New Orleans? Dennis Allen's a terrible head coach. Pete Carmichael, good God, him and Sean Payton are very good at riding the coattails of Drew Brees. Bucks at 4-5. Their defense is actually very good. I've been very impressed with their defense. Their offense, not so much. They cannot run the football. Baker Mayfield is terrible. Not a starter in this league. Falcons are at 4-6. Arthur Smith is one of the most confusing human beings on the planet. You have a generational running back, in my opinion, Bijan Robinson. You just drafted in the top 10. And at times, he just won't use him. I don't understand. You have Kyle Pitts, this big, really good, talented pass-catching talent, and he will not throw him the football. I know his quarterback situation is not good. Desmond Ridder is absolutely terrible. I told you when he was drafted. People were saying this and that about, he's underrated. People were saying, yeah, he's got all the physical tools. All right, yeah, he's got good size, but the problem is he can't throw the football. He can't. He's not good at it. And he's a quarterback. It's not going to work. He's not good. And Taylor Heineke, yeah, it's a fine fill-in, a good backup, but not a starter. But please, Arthur Smith, can you please try and adjust your playbook to get the ball to Kyle Pitts? I don't understand. He's allergic to Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts has 5 career touchdowns? It's his 3rd or 4th year in the league. I don't understand. He's a big tight end like that. Those big tight ends, they are really hard to defend in the red zone. They should be, red zone monsters. That's why Rob Gronkowski was always so dominant in New England. Travis Kelce in Kansas City, Tony Gonzalez, way back when in Kansas City, and then at the end of his career in Atlanta. That's why these big tight ends are so useful in the red zone because they're very hard to defend. You got these small receivers coming across the middle. You got to worry about the run. You kind of forget about the big tight ends. It's hard to defend them. Like, I don't understand why he won't throw this man the football. Makes no sense. He's starting to piss me off. I've defended them for a while, and I'm like, the wins and losses have been there. At this point, if they're going under 500 in that division again, at some point you gotta just all right, this isn't working. And the Panthers are at 1-8, worst team in football right now. They are not good. It's to me, I just think they took the wrong quarterback. Let's be honest. I'm not writing off Bryce Young quite yet, but I will say, no matter what Bryce Young turns into, Stroud is the better quarterback. He's gonna be a superstar. He's already an MVP candidate in year one. I just think, Dave Tepper is pacing back and forth in his office, just thinking, well, what do I do with this regime? He just brought in Frank Reich, who brought in, a pretty experienced staff, and he was calling his own play, which didn't work. Then he handed them off to Thomas Brown, the offensive coordinator. It's not working. Bryce Young's got no protection. They didn't give him a good set of receivers. And then GM Scott Fitter, I mean, he goofed. He gave up DJ Moore and probably the first pick in this year's draft and more for Bryce Young, which hasn't worked out because he took the wrong guy. Now, he threw a lot of money at Miles Sanders, their veteran back, who's been terrible. Outside of the deal of bringing Adam Thielen, no weapon he's brought in his work. DJ Shark isn't anything special. Jonathan Mingle's done nothing this rookie year, third round pick, who I did like coming out. Hayden Hurst hasn't really helped a whole lot. The offensive line is horrible. It didn't address that. They didn't address that defense, which cannot stop the pass if they try. They're barely even competitive. That's on Frank Reich. I don't know what's going on there, but it's not working out. I did not think they'd be that good this year. Some people thought they could have been a sleeper. Maybe they could win that division, but I didn't see it. I still thought they were a year or two away from being a true competitor. But I thought they'll win 6-7 games. The division's not very good. They have some young talent. I like Frank Reich. I think he's a good coach, but wow, was I wrong, because they are horrible. NFC West, 49ers pick up a win. Brock Purdy bounced back after a couple of tough games. Seattle's at 6-3. Geno Smith had a bounce back game, had a much better matchup, so that also helped. Defense played well. Rams at 3-6. I mean, that team's going to look very different next year. They're going to have a ton of cap space. They took on a ton of dead cap so they can just wipe the floor clean for next year. Come off a bye. Matthew Stafford should come back, but he doesn't really have much left, to be honest. That offense is a lot of weapons, but the defense is very good. And Arizona Cardinals, they're 2-8. They're terrible. This is what we expected. They have been competitive for the most part, which I like. After you pick up one over Atlanta this week, Kyler Murray just came back. The defense for the most part has been a little better than expected. I thought it would be absolutely atrocious. It hasn't been good, but they've at least, hung in there. Problem is, the O-line's been terrible. They don't really have a ton of weapons over there. I don't understand why they traded Josh Dobbs. I mean, Jonathan Gadd told them, we're not going to trade you, even after they benched him. But then they trade him, and look what happens. So that was not a good decision on Jonathan Gadd's part and that organization's part. So those are the divisional standings. Let's look at the conference standings right now for the NFL. In the AFC, I believe the Chiefs are the 1 seed, and they are. They're at 7-2. They're the 1 seed right now. But 2 seed right now is Baltimore. They're at 7-3, leading the North. 3 seed is Jacksonville. They lead the South at 6-3. 4 seeds Miami at 6-3. The 3 wildcards right now are Pittsburgh. Again, don't know how that team is 6-3. Cleveland and the Houston Texans at 5-4 are the last team in right now. Bengals have the same record, but Texans have a tiebreaker over the Bengals because they just beat them. You have the Colts are a half game out. Bills are a half game out. Can I believe the Bills are a half game out of the playoffs through 10 games? Raiders are a half game out. They're right there. You have the Chargers are a game out. Jets are a game out. Broncos somehow rolling a game out, and then you have the Titans just basically dead in the water, and the New England Patriots are in dead last in the AFC. Wow. Going to the NFC. Philadelphia Eagles are the 1 seed. They're at 8-1. The 2 seeds, the Lions, who've been absolutely phenomenal this year. They've been exactly as advertised. 3 seeds been San Francisco, who are at 6-3. They lead the West right now, same record as Seattle, but I think they beat them earlier in the year. 4 seeds New Orleans at 5-5. They're hosting a playoff game because of how bad the NFC South is. And the 3 wildcards right now are Seattle, Dallas, and Minnesota. The same Vikings team that started off 0-3. They've won 5 straight games. They got them back into contention. They're the last team in right now. And those are going to be the 7 teams. Then you have Tampa at 4-5. You have, Washington's 2 games out, as is Atlanta. Of course, Atlanta, Tampa are right there in their division because their division's so bad. And you have Green Bay is fading. Bears are basically done, and the New York Giants, Arizona Cardinals, and Carolina Panthers are just basically dead in the water. All right, so only other things we have for NFL, the Saints just picked up Jason Pierre-Paul. So he's been bouncing around lately. Denzel Perryman got suspended for 3 games. The Texans linebacker for an illegal hit. Leighton Van Der Esch is out for the year. So another neck problem for him. I don't know how much longer this guy's going to play. He's had so many neck problems. But for baseball, the Rookie of the Years have been named. Corbin Carroll wins it nationally. He's the first Arizona Diamondback to win National League Rookie of the Year. He hit 285 of 25 home runs, 76 RBIs. Also stole 54 bases. Was great in the playoffs. Played great in center field. And then Gunnar Henderson wins it for Baltimore, the Orioles' first Rookie of the Year, I think since 1969. He hit 255, 28 home runs, 82 RBIs, and played superb defense at both shortstop and third base. So shout out to those 2 guys. The MLB owners are expected to vote on the Oakland Athletics planned relocation to Las Vegas this week, and is expected to be approved. So thank God. It looks like the A's are finally getting out of Oakland. All right, that's all we got for you guys today. I did a short show today. Catch me tomorrow. We got game picks and a lot of other fun stuff. But until next time, so long and have a great day.